Hello students. Now today I am going to explain you the fifth poem of your book First Flight, that is A Legend of the Northland by Folk Carey. Now what is legend? Legend means a traditional story, sometimes popularly regarded as historical but not authenticated. Okay, so it is just a made up story, it is a traditional story, it is not a real story. So now, first, before beginning this poem, I would like to give you a short introduction of the poet Phoebe Carey. The poet Phoebe Carey was an American poetess who was born on 4th September 1824 and lived up till July 31st, 1871. And the younger sister of poetess named Alice Carey, who lived from 1820 to 1871. The sisters co published poems in 1849 and then each went on to publish volumes of their own, and after their deaths in 1871, joint anthologies of the sisters' unpublished poems were also combined. So now let's move on to the poem. So I'll give you a brief introduction of the poem, that what is the poem about. So this poem, A Legend of the Northland, is a traditional popular story composed in the style of a ballad. Now what is ballad? Ballad is a narrative poem written in short stanzas, usually quatrains, that is of 4 lines each, and it is related to a simple incident in a form of suitable for singing or rhythmical chanting. So you can say that ballad is a part of folklore, and this poem fits well into the category of a ballad because it is composed in simple language with 4 lined stanzas and has an important moral lesson to convey through an old story. So therefore it is, you can say that this poem, the Legend of the Northland, is a ballad, and it narrates the legend of how Saint Peter had once cursed an old lady for being mean and stingy, and the poem thus imparts the important lesson that greed always gets punished. So now uh, I'll give you, now we'll discuss about the theme of this poem. This theme, that the poem is based on this theme, that greed is a grave sin. Greedy people do not deserve the blessings and the comforts of human life, and human beings should thus acquire qualities of kindness, fellow feeling, and empathy. The little woman's greed in the poem stopped her from sharing even her smallest cake with hungry Saint Peter, thus earning his wrath. So this is about the theme of the poem. Now let's move on to the poem. And the first stanza of the poem says, Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. Now here, what is Northland? Northland, according to the poet, is a place in the extreme north end of the world. And what then further, what is the poet saying? Where the hours of the day are few means where the days are very short and the nights are so long in winter, and the nights are very long and very cold in winters, that they cannot sleep them through. Means the people cannot sleep through the nights in the Northland because they are very long and cold. So the whole stanza means that in this stanza the poem tells the story of a far off place called Northland, and this place lies in the extreme north end of the world, somewhere around the North Pole. And the poet is saying that here in this Northland, the winter season has very long nights but very few hours for the day, and the nights are so long and so cold that people cannot sleep through them. So now let's move on to the for the second stanza, but before beginning the second stanza, let us discuss the main poetic device that is used in the line. That is, here in this stanza, the poetic device that is used by the poet is repetition. You can see that in the very first line, away, away, the word away is repeated twice. So repetition has been followed, the poetic device repetition has been followed by the poet. Another poetic device that is used in this stanza is alliteration. What is alliteration? I told you that alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound in two or more close words. So in this stanza you can see in the last line that, they, them, through. So here th sound is repeated. So it is alliteration over here. Now let's move on to the second stanza. The second stanza says, where they harness means tie, the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bear's cub in their funny furry clothes. So here in these lines, what kind of carriages do people use in Northland? What is being said? The Northland people use sledges which are pulled on the snow by the fast reindeers. And what kind of clothes the children are said to wear in Northland? The children in Northland, they wear clothes made of fur to keep them warm in the extremely cold weather. And how do the children look like in their winter clothes? The poet says that the children look like the cubs of bears in the winter clothes. It is so because the clothes are made of fur and give a funny bear-like appearance to the children. So the whole stanza, what is the meaning of the whole stanza? The whole stanza says that when the Northland is covered with snow, people use sledges driven by the fast running reindeers, and it is extremely cold, so children are made to wear heavy woolen clothes made of fur, and in these funny clothes they look like a young ones of bears. So now we'll see to the literary devices. The main literary devices that are used in this stanza is again alliteration, f, funny, furry. So here f is repeated, so it is alliteration over here. And then the another literary device here is simile, because in the line which says, and the children look like bear's cub. So here the children of the Northland look like the cubs of bear in their furry clothes. So the simile has been used by the poet to define the looks of the children. Then further the next stanza says, they tell them a curious story, I don't believe it is true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. So here in these lines the poet refers to they. Who are they and them in the first line of the stanza? They in the first line of the stanza are the people of Northland, and them are their little and cute children. So what does the poet say in these lines? That in the Northland region prevails a curious legend which parents tell their children. The story, ancient story that the parents, they just always tell the tale to their children. The poet is not sure whether the story of this legend is true or not, but she still wants to tell this tale as it contains a significant moral lesson. So what two characteristic features of the story have been mentioned by the poet in this stanza? The poet says that this story is curious and its truth has not been established. Then why doesn't the poet believe the story to be true? Why? Because the poet find it the story strange and unusual. And why the poet call this story, or why he calls the story why the poet does not believe the story, yet she insists on telling it? Because the story is valuable. And why is it valuable? Because it teaches a moral lesson of love kindness and charity, and that is why it has been passed on by one generation to another. So now let's see to the various poetic devices that have been used in this stanza. The poet again has used alliteration in the lines like learn a lesson and tell the tale. So here L, learn the lesson, L is repeated, and tell the tale, T is repeated respectively. And then there is also the use of enjambment in the third line, rolls on the next without any pause or punctuation. So I told you what is enjambment, that when the lines are connected and there is no punctuation mark, then it is called as enjambment. So in these lines, enjambment has been used by the poet. Now let's move on to the fourth stanza. The fourth stanza says, once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it preaching just as he did, you know. So what do you mean by preaching? Means teaching. So in this stanza, how does the poet introduce Saint Peter? What does she say about Saint Peter? The poet says or introduces Saint Peter as good Saint Peter because he is known to the Christian people as an apostle of Jesus Christ. And according to the poet, where did Saint Peter live? Saint Peter, according to the poet, had come down, or according to the story, or according to the legend, had come down from heaven and lived in the world of human beings. And then in the lines, what does the word world below refer to? The world below refers to the earth as distinct from heaven. And why the poet, or why the story says that Saint Peter traveled and wandered? Saint Peter traveled and wandered in order to preach and spread the message of God to the people of the Northland. So we can say that the whole story narrated in the Northland is about the good Saint Peter on who is one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ, and once he came down from heaven to the world below to preach the word of God, to preach the word of God. He traveled and wandered to fulfill his missionary purpose. So the poetic device used in this fourth stanza is enjambment. You can see that in line 2 and 3 and third and fourth there is continuation of the line without any punctuation mark. So it is enjambment over here. Now let's see to the fifth stanza. The fifth stanza says, he came to the door of a cottage in travelling round the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. Now what is hearth here? So hearth is a concrete area in front of the fireplace where cakes or bread are baked. So what is said in this stanza? The poet says that Saint Peter happened to reach a cottage while travelling round the earth. In this cottage, a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the fireplace. So who is he in this stanza? He refers to Saint Peter, one of the apostles of Jesus Christ, and whose cottage did he reach and when? And he reached the Jesus Christ, or this Saint Peter, he reached the cottage of a little woman when he was tired and hungry after having travelled all day preaching the word of God. The whole day he was preaching the good word of God. And what was the little woman in the cottage doing? The little woman was making cakes and baking them on a fireplace.